Hello, everyone. Welcome back. Welcome. So excited to see everybody here today. Oh, man. Christiana says good morning from Melbourne, y'all. How are all of you? Good morning. What time is it in Melbourne? Curious. Inquiring minds want to know. Okay, Flower of Life says, hello, Jess. Hello, babe. Good to see you. Assertive Tarot says, let's go. Who else is excited? I know I'm excited. Okay, Jennifer Taylor says, happy Monday, everyone. And Tasha says, hey, boo. Hey, Tasha. Good to see you guys here. Okay. Okay, Rebecca says it's midnight in the UK. Slim says, can we talk about the Mercury retrograde in Capricorn? Susanna says, hello from Sweden. Bedtime here. What time is bedtime for you? Elsa says, hello from Boca Raton. Louisiana in the house. New Jersey. What part of New Jersey? Okay. Perks of being emotionally unstable says, who else has horrible colds right now? Thank God I don't. I actually am feeling very healthy at this moment in time. Knock on wood. Holistic Jaja says it's 1 p.m. over here in Hungary. That's amazing. Okay, Shawnee says, hey, Jess from Cali. Love that. Jesse says, first time I caught you live. I'm hype. Yeah, it's going to be a chill. This live session is going to be pretty chill. I've been very relaxed all day and very much vibing. That's just been my energy. Look at this selenite wand. Isn't this everything right now? I don't know why this has just been really, I got to look into the selenite, but I think the symbolism of selenite, but it's giving like moonlight energy. I swear I'm not high. I'm just high on life right now. I just find this so stunning. I wanted to, while I was getting ready for you guys, I was looking around at like my crystal collection, and this is the one that stood out to me. I have a few. I have like a spiral tower that I was going to add to the shop. I've had it for like 3 months, and I just haven't added it to the shop. I don't think I will yet. I've just been vibing with all of them. Oh my God. Okay. Yeah. Flower of Life says, oh my God, that's pretty. Yeah. It's just so stunning right now. It just is really speaking life to me. It's even prettier in like real life. I promise you guys, I'm not saying this to sell because I'm not going to put this in the shop until I'm ready to. But this has just been my vibe tonight. This beautiful selenite wand. Well, you guys, welcome into Astro Chat Live. Yeah, I'm actually going to go live a little bit on Instagram just because we have it in a minute. Let me just catch up on some of these comments. Tiffany Clark says, I'm feeling anxious out of nowhere today. So bad that my heart started racing and I started getting cold with the shivers, not even sick. Cap, Sun, Leo, Moon, Leo rising. What's going on energetically? Let me see. I mean, yeah. So you're talking about the fact that you are Leo rising. The moon is currently transiting through the sign of Leo right now. And one of the first things that it was aspecting at this time, even right now, is Uranus, the planet of instability. And it also sends like electric pulses to us, which can absolutely turn into like, feeling like anxiety, like a lot of anxiety. Uranus typically triggers our fight or flight responses and also the nervous system. So that makes a lot of sense that you're feeling that, especially as a Leo rising. So, and if you don't know, the moon actually taps into our emotional feelings and our feelings of safety. So that's probably why you've been feeling anxious, Tiffany, out of absolutely nowhere. And Cap Sun right now, I mean, your Capricorn in general, I would be interested in hearing what degrees of Capricorn your sun falls in, but we have Pluto in the sign of Capricorn right now. We have Mercury in the sign of Capricorn, also Venus. Capricorns in general have been going through a lot lately when it comes to emotional maturity, but also mental maturity, karma, and personal growth. So Capricorns haven't really been able to get a break. Capricorn Sun and Capricorn Rising, same thing with Cancers. It's just been like on and on and on. So that's probably why. This will be temporary though, which is something that I want to talk to you guys about this tonight. So yeah, Rasta says, reminder, everyone hit that like button. Yes, please. There's about 400 people in here right now and 100 thumbs ups. The Astro Chat Live is definitely free for everyone. So I wanted to make it available and accessible for everyone to participate. So if you guys can go ahead and hit that thumbs up button, it would make a difference for me and, me spending my time here. I'm also about to go live on Instagram shortly, but my main focus, my main attention is going to be on Instagram. So just so you guys know, I'm going to go live in about 3, 2, 1. Once that notification goes live, then just stick with us here. So hello, everyone. Welcome to Astro Chat Live. If we're meeting for the first time, I'm Jessica Alexandria. I'm the creator and the head witch behind BehatiLife Apothecary, professional astrologer, tarot, and intuitive reader. As you guys know, during Astro Chat Live, we talk about all the transits and everything that you can expect for this week and beyond. So a lot of the transits that we're going to be discussing, especially the fact that Jupiter is going to be exiting out of Pisces and moving into the sign of Aries, that's going to be a transit that we're going to be experiencing next week. But 1000% we're going to be feeling this for the months to come and the year to come. So this is going to usher in major, massive new beginnings. During Astro Chat Live tonight, we're going to be talking about the things that it is that we're going to be saying goodbye to and how Jupiter's transit through the sign of Pisces was designed to serve us in ways that was very enlightening and also ways that is very difficult. So I just want to thank you guys for being here with me right now. As I said to you at the very beginning of our chat on YouTube, that this chat tonight is going to be very chill. Normally I come in with a surge of energy, high energy, but tonight I've been feeling very, very low key, very, very chill. In fact, the tea that I normally drink at night, I was drinking all throughout the day. For those of you guys that don't know, I've been really vibing with oolong, like the double milk oolong tea. Oh my God, it has given me so much life. I've had 2 cups already instead of like my normal green tea. And I only drink 1 cup of coffee, but I'm just saying that to make things more clear, that's been my vibe, is very milk tea vibe. So yeah. Okay, Gabrielle is asking, did we get any updates on the Morocco trip? If so, where can I find them? I have not shared any more details on the Morocco trip yet, just because I announced it, I believe, on Thursday or Friday, and then today's Monday. So there was a weekend where I wasn't thinking about work or travel. I was just spending time with people that I love. But this week, we are going to be sharing those details, more detailed. And for those of you guys that are interested in Morocco, or you might be interested in Costa Rica, the Costa Rica trip is live currently for 2023, and that's going to be the Divine Feminine Immersion. So that's going to be up there for you guys to decide if you want to join me in Costa Rica or if you want to go adventuring in Morocco. I believe that the Morocco trip is going to be priced towards a more affordable, options, so that as more people can come. I would love to get a really big group there. I think that it would be really awesome if we can get a nice, sandwich of people. And we're definitely going to be adventuring there. So I think it would be the more the merrier with that Morocco trip. Oh, look at this candle flame just bouncing. I don't know if you guys can see it, but all right, guys. So as we said in the very beginning, let's go ahead and dive right in. I'm going to talk about the rules of Astro Chat Live. This is, again, our time where we can connect and talk about astrological transits, everything that it is that we can expect, for good or for bad. I personally believe that if you know the energy of the planets, you can make them work for you and not against you. These planets are not here to hurt or harm you in any way. They're actually pretty helpful, but you have to understand what's going on energetically, to be able to see how to make this something that is constructive and not destructive. I do say that if you, when we go live, that there's a lot of people who will participate. There's a lot of people who want to join in the conversation. Some some of those energies are really good. And some of those energies can be very like roach like. They want attention, they don't have the good intentions. So when we get any type of those energies, just make sure that you're staying focused on me and my message, just because we only have 1 hour to work with. And it's very important that you use this hour constructively. For those of you guys that are joining me live on Instagram, I want to invite you to migrate over to the YouTube channel, because that's where we're live currently, and I'm going to give them most of my attention, but I also want to thank you for being here now. Having said that too, language, go ahead and drop the F-bomb, say, or talk, however you want to talk, but just remember to be respectful. Respectful for me means that you're not saying anything disrespectful to other people, or you're not disrespecting me. We're not talking about sexual things or anything else like that. But we are allowed to curse. I believe that cursing is good for the throat chakra, so I don't mind doing that. Okay. And this Astro Chat Live will be saved on the YouTube channel so that you can revisit it at any point. Really quickly, Betty Nola says, what happened to DR? Dominican Republic ended up sending a message. The U.S. Embassy in the DR sent a message out to the United States from the U.S. Embassy saying that if you are a person of color, of dark skin, that it's not safe for us to travel to the DR at that time, mostly because of what's happened. Well, there's layers to it because I did research. So the DR trip was still available for those who it was safe for them to go. But if you were a person of dark skin complexion, our safety was not going to be guaranteed. So as soon as we got that notification, I reached out to the group that was supposed to go to the DR and let them know, if they didn't feel comfortable. And then I also explained the situation, that they would get a full refund, and Trovatrip has been taking care of that. So I personally, Nikki says, I got that notice too. Yeah, very, very scary stuff right now. I didn't go. It wasn't safe. It wouldn't be a safe situation. And also I had friends that had gone a year ago, and some stories that were shared in the present moment where people are saying like, listen, girl, this is not, even if you don't get kidnapped or murdered or whatever, you still would not be treated with respect while you were there. And the purpose of the DR trip was as a spiritual retreat. And the last thing I wanted to do was bring the girls and bring our people into a situation where we'd have to focus on that aspect of how we're treated as Black women in the US. We have enough triggers, enough as it is. And I didn't want to that was not something that I wanted to even have a part of our conversation. So yeah. Betty says, oh my God, crazy glad you canceled. I know. Tell me about it. It was so weird. Yeah, Tasha in the comments right now, she's giving the claps. She was talking to me about her trip and her experience, and it did not sound good. And it just is like progressively getting worse. So that's why I was very, very excited to go to the DR, but it didn't, we couldn't go. And I'm not okay with risking anyone's safety, not only their physical safety, but also your mental and emotional safety. To me, it's not worth it to put yourself in a situation where you're going to be confronted with anything that could traumatize you in that moment and moving forward. Not on my watch. That's not the vibe. We don't like that vibe. Okay. I can't say this right now, says you are the complexion of many people in the DR, so you wouldn't have an issue. But the idea that skin tone is the issue when the darkest people that I've ever met are Dominican. And I don't want to talk about it too much and talk about the history of it, because the politics of it and the beliefs behind it are very controversial. And this is not the time to talk about it. Tonight, we're talking about astrology. But the truth is that even if I would fare better because my skin is a lighter complexion, I do not want to support a place right now that would ever look at anyone else as less than. And when I think about the idea of ethnic cleansing, I cannot get behind that. And I don't ever want to support anything like that. And also, I don't even want to get involved in this conversation. I don't want to, not that I don't want to get involved, but tonight I am only going to talk about astrology, because if I talk about what's going on, being fully transparent, what's going on in the DR, and I'm gonna get upset. And I just don't want to do that tonight. But I understand what is that you're saying, that, and that's the other thing too. It's like, it's not even, I can be the complexion of people in the Dominican Republic, or a chunk of people that are in the Dominican Republic, and it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter, because the racism and the stereotypes and the requirement for how they're targeting people right now is not something that I'm ever going to stand behind, and I don't even want to hear it. I don't. Okay. So anyways, Suzette says, yeah, shift the convo, don't let that get on your skin. Yeah, yeah, that's just not a vibe. Okay, so moving forward, we are exiting. I don't know if you guys have seen this and feel, I don't know if you guys are feeling this, but this week specifically, we are still in Mars transiting through Gemini energy, which I told you guys about 2 weeks ago, that this can promote a lot of irritability and a lot of, if you're not careful, carelessness, and a lot of mental and emotional irritation. We are still in the thick of this, and as this planet Mars is retrograde currently, backtracking through the sign of Gemini, I want to start this live chat talking about that first and foremost, because that's one of the personal planets, and this is going to impact how we're feeling in our day to day. Last week, we spent a lot of time talking about the square that's happening between Uranus and Saturn, and how they're fighting, like how their energies are battling each other in the cosmic skies, and how that's going to be impacting us, not only in our personal lives, but also in our government and in politics and all around the world. So tonight, I want to talk about the personal planets and also these major transits that we're going to be preparing for. Mars transiting through the sign of Gemini, again, retrograde, is the reminder that we, more than anything, need to mentally slow down. We need to be very careful of what we are committing ourselves to. We need to be very considerate of where the universe or where our path is trying to teach us and learn us and school us in our lives. This is not just, I know that a lot of you guys are going through major revelations when it comes to boundaries, emotional, mental, spiritual, physical healing. Those things stand out big time, because, again, with Uranus and squaring off with Saturn, yes, we see that in our day to day, in our politics and stuff, but in our personal lives, it's breaking down the structures and the foundations that have made us feel safe, which then can trigger an emotional response, right? So we may think that our irritation might be coming from that, but looking at the chart, I feel like most of our irritation and most of what the planets are trying to teach us right now is to not exclusively look at what we're learning about ourselves personally or emotionally or psychologically or anything like that, because that's happening, but also, where are we, on an intellectual platform? What can we learn, and what is the universe trying to teach us now, here in this moment in time? Let's say you're a cafe or a coffee shop owner. I'm going to use this as an example. Let's say you're a cafe or a coffee shop owner, and you're learning in your day-to-day how to make a chocolate croissant that has hazelnut drizzle. That's something that the Gemini transiting through the sign of, I'm sorry, Mars transiting through the sign of Gemini, retrograde right now, is about going back to those old recipes for your work, for your purpose, for the things that you're ambitious about, and learning how to master that, and learning how to slow down, and learning, connecting with other people, what they do, what works for them, what doesn't work for them. And then through trial and error, you implementing that, not even taking into consideration what you may be going through spiritually, emotionally, because of what you're learning through your the relationships that you're in or the breakup that you went through. So do you see how they're very separate? Sometimes it can be easy for us to only be able to see and address during these lives the major issues in our life of emotional stuff. But at this time, I want you guys to look beyond what you're emotionally or psychologically or spiritually learning and experiencing, and look at what the universe might be trying to teach you as far as lessons in your day-to-day life. Maybe you guys are your friend circle is changing, maybe your community is changing, your network is changing in a more intimate way. So now you might be starting to learn or have different conversations and getting to know new people in a fun, energetic way. It doesn't actually feel heavy or burdensome. It's actually, if you use these transits, it can actually be a wonderful escape from the heaviness of your emotional lessons and the spiritual lessons that the other planets that they're bringing into your life right now. So, yes, we have this major breakdown that's happening, maybe in our finances, maybe in our psychological well-being, maybe in our healing, maybe in our family, or whatever the case is. But at the same time, Mars retrograde in the sign of Gemini is giving us this opportunity to revisit, to relearn, to reconsider different things, different avenues that we can explore that will be beneficial to us in a way that's not so heavy, but is still just as equally as important. Does that make sense? I hope this makes sense to you guys. I please let me know down in the comments. Also, because these transits can spike anxiety and anxiousness and irritability and frustration, the planets will also say that, yes, this is happening, but you can also find yourself, if you busy yourself with this type of work, then it will be a wonderful outlet instead of you having to be solely focused on the heavier aspects of your life or the heavier aspects of what it is that you're going through. Tasha says, oh my God, yes, exactly. I would love to hear what you guys are personally learning. As I'm saying this to you guys, I'm asking myself, what is it that I'm learning? But how this has been impacting me, from what I can think of, but I'm going to journal about this a little bit, is I've been meeting new connections, like new friendships, and having interest, like meeting people in the neighborhood. I know that sounds really light and insignificant, but actually, now that I think about it, those light conversations are nice when you go home and you've had a conversation that's not heavy or not deep or not life changing in any way. It's just like not silly, but just in the moment. Like, you're talking about things that are present in the moment. And when Mars is retrograde, it invites us to stop thinking so far ahead, or stop trying to pursue what's ahead of us, and stay present in where we're at right now and learn what we're at right now. Some of you guys might be setting things up in your offices. You might be in your home environment, kind of piecing together certain things, following rules, following instructions. Some of you guys might be putting together puzzles, reading books, connecting through not social media platforms, but things like Zoom calls and those types of things. Those things are going to play out really, really well for you. And again, sometimes sometimes the greatest blessing for us is not this major thing. Sometimes it's in the smaller stuff that we get to do. And that's what these planets are talking about right now, for each of us. Okay. So I love that. Yeah. The intuitive massage therapist says, I've been clearing and cleaning. Exactly. A lot of that, a lot of things like the knickknacks and the small stuff of our lives, that's going to give you, it may not be like a whole business opportunity or business proposal, but it doesn't take away from the importance and the value of the busyness of your day to day. The trucking Frenchie says, tapping into new hobbies and learning more about the world and what's possible for me in the future. Exactly. That's literally perfect example. It's new hobbies, new tinkering things that you can learn that, again, may not be so explosively large and major, but they're an escape, a wonderful escape, actually, from the monotony or the heaviness. Sometimes that's that we are all in right now. It can also be kind of like emotionally draining to um, talk about the heavier stuff all the time. So it's nice to have like lighter conversations. Tess says new career paths. Absolutely. Mama Lax says funny. I was just thinking about learning how to crochet. Exactly. Exactly. So Mars normally thinks about, sometimes, depending on how Mars falls within your chart, but for the most part, Mars wants to do not big picture, but it wants to be active. It's like the soldier that is implementing the bigger picture. And when Mars is retrograde, instead of it being like fighting and like, how tally ho into this major next goal in your life, when it's retrograde, it's more like, I would like to do something, because it's also very physical and very active. I would like to do something on a smaller scale, or I would like to do something that serves me, that's not so big, it's not so loud. Yeah, Kayla says, I started relearning how to knit. Exactly. Rebecca says, I've been learning more about the tarot. I love that. Kimberly says, I'm working through my feelings about my friend circle changing. Exactly. Focusing on bettering yourself. And that's the other thing, too, that Gemini doesn't exclusively represent friendships or friendship circles. That's more the 11th house, but and this the element of Aquarius, but it does tie in, because it's the type of quality of the conversations that you're having and what you gain from those conversations in that moment. So it's not very intimate, but it does help you to connect in a way that you are learning something about other people. The trucking Frenchie says dabbling, dreaming, and boarding, mood boarding. I keep hearing about mood boards, but I don't know entirely what that is. I'm going to write that down. So the next thing that I want to talk to you guys about is the fact that Jupiter, the planet of abundance and expansion, and the great philosopher, is finally, what a blessing, is going to be exiting, is in the final degrees of Pisces, and then is going to start transiting through the sign of Aries. This is, for me, this feels very, very huge, especially as a spiritual person, and especially as someone who like works in esoteric and the spiritual studies, because I love, don't get me wrong, Jupiter touches and expands everything that Jupiter touches, it will expand and grow it. But sometimes too much of anything can be terrible. I'm going to keep it real, right? So now that Jupiter is exiting out of the sign of Pisces and entering in the sign of Aries, this is just another sign of the times that we're in right now, where we're ushering in brand new beginnings. Aries is the start of the zodiac, and Jupiter stepping forth into this area is going to expand that new beginning or that new horizon and this new position that's in our lives. It activates the energy of Aries. I would love to see or hear what Aries rules within your chart. I just saw Jennifer say Aries is in my 10th house. 10th house is her career and also her major identity for the whole world. And how the whole world will understand her and what her reputation will be, part of her legacy. So this is going to start activating those energies of, okay, like big time, not what is my purpose, but the major work that I'm here called to do. Because your purpose doesn't necessarily have to be 100% connected to your work or your service to other people. Your purpose could be a multitude of different things, but when it comes to your, you guys are talking about, okay, we have Aries in the 8th. A lot of people are talking about Aries in the 8th, Aries in the 5th house. I'm telling you guys, I've been not low energy today, but I've been chill energy. Tasha says, 6th house. That's 6th house of health, and also like regimen, routines, how we're taking care of ourselves. What is the word that my dad uses? Hygiene. Our hygiene. Yeah, Aries in the 11th house. So just like I'm telling you guys, there's two things to this. It can bring in massive, massive blessings, but it can also blow up or expand certain things that we need to be aware of. So let's say, for example, like I'm going to use Tasha as an example. Let's say the 6th house, right? So it can create opportunities for her to connect with amazing doctors or amazing guru, like a health professional, or a routine that really, really helps her, or helps anybody who's dealing with the 6th house with their own healing. At the same time, it can bring to the forefront any type of lingering health issues. It expands it and makes it known. So it's not it depends on how you look at Jupiter's transit. If it's going to feel well, you want to look if you see something, if your levels start to increase, when it comes to your health, then you go to, just like it's expanding the problem, it can also expand and bring the guru or the teacher who can help to fix it and to heal it. So if you can switch your mind into seeing it as an opportunity and do the research and be open to finding the professional that can help you with that, then Jupiter's transit through that sign will be the thing that brings it to the forefront in a good, and so that you can see the problem and it just expands itself, as well as you find the guru, the teacher that can help you with that. I hope that makes sense. When Jupiter was transiting through the sign of Pisces, it helped a lot of us. It was a huge catalyst in the spirituality community. Most of us have been sharing our spirituality on the internet. This opened up the door for our spiritual journeys or different spiritual practices and different spiritual knowledges that we were then sharing all over the world. It became like the next big thing, the next trend, which is awesome because it allows people to connect with each other. It allows people to get excited about studying their belief systems um, and consulting higher wisdom and tapping into like esoteric or psychological. That's the other thing too. This is in such a short amount of time, we went from, as a society, not even being able to talk about going to therapy to everyone and their mom has a therapist. And that's an amazing thing, right? That's so amazing in a small amount of time. Have you guys noticed that? It's because of the transit of Jupiter moving through the sign of Pisces. Pisces actually connects to our psychological, and it also connects to our subconscious. So we start, yeah, like Tiana's saying, openly talking about it. This is something that society never did until Jupiter started transiting to the sign of Pisces. That is the biggest blessing. At the same time, everybody became a psychological expert in their own mind. Also, there was a lot of psychological manipulation. It's there's two sides to every coin. There's no such thing as all good or all bad. It's just what happens when this transit occurs. This is what you can expect. For good or for bad, something is going to expand here, and there's multiple things that can happen at the same time. It doesn't have to be one extreme, all this or all nothing. So there was also a huge breakout in um, tarot and astrology and those types of sciences. They started trending on social media, on YouTube, because information was being shared and everybody was more wanting to put their fingers on it. That made that everybody wanted to be a professional, or that was everyone's career. At the same time, a lot of things that were sacred started getting violated. At the same time, um, a lot of people, there's a lot of information being shared on the topic, and you don't know what those intentions are behind it. At the same time, the spirituality community started getting attacked by people who saw the benefit of it. So Jupiter, again, doesn't always promise just all good or bad. And I want you guys to listen and learn from that, because that's something that we can also expect, like moving forward, as Jupiter is exiting out of the sign of Jupiter. I'm sorry, as Jupiter is exiting out of the sign of Pisces and entering in the sign of Aries. One thing that I will say, personally, for the majority of us, there is a lot of wisdom that we gained through this transit. For many of us, we were able to have major breakthroughs when it came to generational curses. For many of us, we have gained a lot of clarity into our spiritual beliefs and our spiritual identity. For many of us, you guys stepped into really magical states of being. For many of you guys, you've been walking around super in tune to your angels and your guides. And some of us, we've been walking around with our head in a cloud. Why? Because Jupiter exalts that. Pisces is not exclusively clear in its direction in life. Pisces energy is not the easiest to transit through or the easiest to navigate through because you can't see anything clearly. You're in a spiritual fog. You have to always balance it with grounding. What is the opposite of Pisces energy but Virgo? Virgo says, listen, Pisces, I know you have your head in the clouds, but let's also ground this and put things into their place, or else this can become chaotic. This can become spiritually boundaryless. It was so important that even as we were exploring ourselves, and our even as we were exploring our spiritual and emotional and psychological selves, that we were also balancing it with the ability to ground and center ourselves and to come back down to earth and to get it out of your head and onto paper and to write it down and compartmentalize it, or else it can feel like you're walking around in a fog or in a cloud, or you may feel very spiritually in tune and you might be channeling messages all the time, but you might be walking around in like a foggy cloud and feeling directionless and not having a real grasp of like what is real and what is fake, but you wouldn't really know that. Also, Jupiter's transit through the sign of Pisces, of course, it can bring in the soulmate, the twin flame, and really heightened levels of love. But at the same time, it can be very, very hard because you're energetically connecting with people that you may not be 100% healed with. So just like you can find your soulmate and your twin flame and the love of your life forever, you can also find people who are very similar to that. And if you're not healing those aspects within yourself, or if you're not okay with letting things go, you can stay in a relationship that is very toxic and emotionally and spiritually draining because the boundaries are not defined, or you haven't been able to heal those aspects of yourself, the subconscious that is attracted to someone who may be very similar to your soulmate or very similar to the love of your life. So you may want deeper connection. You may want a spiritual connection, and you may want spiritual growth. But what if you're not healed entirely? The soulmate and the love of your life may be present, but it's unreachable because it's so hard to find if you're not healing yourself and if you're not grounding yourself, or if you don't know when to let go. I don't want you guys to forget that just like Jupiter can bring in heightened level of unconditional love, true unconditional love, does not have any boundaries or rules to like, or doesn't have conditions to it. There's boundaries to it, but it's without conditions. This means that a lot of the people that you may have fallen in love with during this transit may have impacted you in such a deep spiritual way. They feel very much, if they're not soulmates, if they're not actual soulmates, it's something with just as much depth and intensity that can stay with you for the rest of your life. These are great loves that are lost. And as wonderful as that sounds at the start of this transit, the truth is that when you're in it and when you're in the thick of it and it's the situation, it can be very spiritually, emotionally, mentally, all of it draining. And again, it can be so hard because you can find this very magical, ethereal, glittering love affair and see the intensity of the soul bond between you guys, but still not be able to find the direction in order to make it work. And that is the double-edged sword that Jupiter or Pisces energy does bring. And Jupiter just brings all of that to the forefront. sometimes in the spiritual world, there's a lot of information about trying to find your soulmate, trying to find your twin flame, or trying to find the love of your life. And there's a lot of direction in calling it and manifesting it. You can manifest a soulmate and a twin flame like that. But ultimately, what are you bringing into your life and what comes with that? So again, you may feel the intensity and the connection of this bond, but you may actually, that as wonderful and as magical as this love can be, it also requires you letting go. And that is a part of the higher part of love, is that we can't hold on to it forever. And those deep connections are very, very real. They're very magnetic and they're so magical and they're so once in a lifetime. But a part of that is not in holding on to it and gripping onto it and manipulating it and saying that this is mine. I feel this and I hold on to this forever. A big part of it is letting it go and letting it have freedom, because the how it breaks you down and how it cracks you open is so different than any other type of love that's out there. And the only way for you to understand that is by going through it, and it is so fucking painful. Many of you guys have experienced incredibly soul shifting connections with people, if it's real. Because on the flip side of that is that Jupiter transiting through the sign of Pisces can also bring in larger than life type of personalities and people who promise or things that feel very similar to a soulmate connection, but ultimately they end up deceiving you or taking advantage of you and leaving you kind of like washed over and not knowing who you are anymore. You may have felt like you lost your footing. You may have lost your identity. You may have lost your purpose. You may feel disoriented walking out of this transit or in the middle of this transit. And it can be really hard for you to know the difference. And this is why Virgo, the very opposite of Pisces, says, I'm going to take the time to isolate and to critique and be critical of the situation. Not because I want to destroy something that's magical, but I need to understand it, because I need to understand what role it plays in my life and what role I play in its life. And what do I do with this? What is the best thing to do with this? Where does this belong? Where does it go? And as difficult as it is to get your head out of the cloud, the solution to this is to actually ground yourself in center and pull actually in deeper into Virgo energy. And that can be the hardest thing, especially when you're getting swept away by the love of your life, or swept away in a spiritual connection, or swept away in the magic of a soulmate bond or a twin flame, alignment. That's really, it goes a lot deeper than love. It merges into identity and purpose, and like, why are we here on earth and why is it so fucking hard? And I want to tell you guys too that with Jupiter's transit through the sign of Pisces, we look for our deeper purpose and we look for deeper meaning here as human beings here on earth, and we find it. But sometimes the treasure can feel very similar to a curse or something that feels very emotionally baggaged or draining. The same thing that can give us so much love and purpose is the same thing that can bring in a lot of emotional mourning, even if we found our purpose, even if we found the love of our life, because it comes with a web of a lot of emotions that I don't even think that we have the tools to express in the English language. Jupiter's transit through the sign of Pisces defies logic and reasonable explanations. As magical as it is, and as exciting as it is at the beginning of the transit, the truth is that any transit for any length of time can start to become too much. And one thing that I will say is that for many of you guys, you are battling depression, you're battling identity and purpose and fulfilling your duties here while also creating your art. For many of you guys, you're battling loneliness and isolation while wanting so bad to find companionship, and then also trying to pick up the pieces of yourself that got broke from the last love leaving your life. That's the reality. It's like the experience itself gets ushered in and expands itself and makes itself known, and then you're holding on to this big gaseous ball that you called into your life, and you should have no shame in any of that, because it's a blessing and a gift that you got to experience it. But also, don't hold on to it, because you're holding on to something that is mystical. That's not to say that because it's mystical or spiritual that it's not real. It just means that you're entering into the realms of Pisces. It's hard to put your hands on something that's not actually physically tangible. It may be the heaviest thing that you can carry, but the burden itself is not something that you can hold in your hands. So I just always want to keep things 100% real. I know that on the internet that there's so much information, again, talking about find your soulmate, find your twin flame, find your purpose. As a spiritual being, do this practice. As a witch, work with these herbs, light these candles, and all those things are things that you can actually do. But I also want to say that as a spiritual person, and as a person who's been in this almost her entire life, even before the internet, because I remember when I started my spiritual journey, AOL was like the only, like, dial-up internet was the way to go. And you had to wait to dial up, and there were chat rooms and stuff like that. ASL, let me know if you know what I'm talking about, right? So when we started those journeys, when I started that journey back in the day, there was a lot of there was minimal information. Now it's 2022, and there's so much information about spirituality, and that's a blessing. But at the same time, you have to have discernment, and you have to be grounding, and you have to be balancing. If not, it can get really easy for you to kind of lose your footing by focusing on only the good and the glittering aspect of what being a spiritual person and a spiritual pursuer can look like, and not talking so much about how psychologically, emotionally, and spiritually, physically, it can also take a toll on you, especially when it comes to finding more meaning and purpose, a purpose-filled life. It's amazing to be able to find your purpose while you're here on earth. It's amazing to show up every day and know that you're purpose-led. But at the same time, there's a burden, an emotional burden that comes with that. And it's very important for you to balance a very healthy grounding routine and regimen, to make sure that as you're living your purpose, that you are able to take care of yourself, because every part of yourself is going to be able to be healthy and balanced, so that you don't get whisked away. Thank you guys so much for the super chats. I am seeing them come through. I really appreciate them, and I love them so much. Buku. As Jupiter is entering in the sign of Aries. Oh my God, that's the other thing too. How much time do we have? Okay, 48 minutes on the clock. So as Jupiter is entering in the sign of Aries December 20th, right? Chiron, who's currently sitting in the sign of Aries, moves direct on the 23rd. And I know you guys have been talking to, I know you guys have heard me talk about Chiron's transit in a sign of Aries, and how we, oh wait, hold on. Landon says, married my twin flame right now. I feel like the world around me is crashing. So this makes so much sense, Jess. Direction moving forward is definitely cloudy. And it really is. And that's the other thing too. Like, what if we accepted that sometimes the path forward is not going to be the easiest thing to find, or sometimes the path forward is not something that's going to be all black or all white? What if it's a whole lot of gray area? And as Neptune and Jupiter are transiting through the sign of Pisces, we need to be a little bit more comfortable with embracing the gray area, and instead of expecting things to be all black or all white, all one way or all the other way. there needs to be a very healthy mix of balance of like what works for you. And the way to find that is by how it makes you feel. What is the vibe when you're implementing this? What do you need? The same things that can help you be successful are the same things that you may need to step back away from, because of balance. Because again, balance is everything. And if we stay too much in a regimen or a routine, it starts to lose its efficacy, I believe is the word. It starts to lose its potency. So switching things up and trying new things out and being curious and exploring and following with these planets, how they're kind of guiding you, will be ultimately beneficial in all the many different ways in your life. It's going to keep you fresh. It's going to keep you funky. It's going to keep you on top of things. It's going to keep you healthy, all of those things. Creative Alchemist says, I'm telling you, you are so on point tonight. That's the only point I know how to be on, is on point. That's all I will ever be, is on point. But thank you, my love. I really appreciate that. Tasha says, a whole lot of gray area. Exactly. And trust me, guys, I was born on the autumn equinox. This is the day of perfect balance. So I do a lot of things to tap dance in my life to make sure that we have perfect balance. I would love to feel a little bit more comfortable in the gray area. I'm a whole lot of all or nothing. Okay. She can be very intense in the gray area. She can be very intense in the black area. She can be very intense in the white area. So I know all about it. Okay. I was born on the autumn equinox. So I get it. You know, everything in my being says, okay, how do we balance this? How do we maintain order? And okay, we got order. Just don't tip it up. Especially as a Virgo, I don't like change. I don't like change. And I have a lot of Virgo in my chart too. Yeah, Kay Miller says, I'm still getting over being cheated on for my last relationship. Yo, I feel that. That shit does not, pardon my French, but that does not go away overnight. That's not an easy thing to transition out of. And again, when Jupiter is transiting through the sign of Pisces, you see the best in people, and you see the best in humanity, and then you also see the worst. And it makes you think, it's kind of fucked up, because it makes you think like, if you can see the very good in humanity, and then on the flip side of that, the very best, like who and what can you trust? Because it's not something that is consistent or predictable. Okay, so where are we at? Okay, 52 minutes. I love that. Yeah, Irvin says, yo, same fucking being. Yeah, it's awful being cheated on. I totally feel you. Okay. Yeah, Leah Love says, it feels confining and limiting for me staying only in black and white. I feel that. I wonder what your transits are that make it easy for you to accept that. So this week I want to encourage you guys to take it easy enough on yourself and on the world, and also just realize that a very magical and mystical cycle that we were in is starting to end. And what this means is that, for specifically when it comes to direction in your life and spirituality and purpose and love, things are going to start changing in something that feels a bit more, I don't want to say practical, but for lack of a better word, I'm going to go with practical. It's going to feel a bit more manageable, because it's going to be the shift and the change that it is that you've needed. Also, this could actually provoke war, but I have a video coming up. I'm going to be sharing this with you guys. It can actually promote war. I'm not going to lie to you. Where it's the history of the U.S. I'm going to post it up right after we're done this live. Is there the threat of World War III? I think that you guys would be really surprised to see what the cards have shown and what my intuition is showing. Suzette Dumais says, oh my God, no. Don't panic yet. If you don't see me running, then I don't think that you should run. Renaud P says, when are you planning on getting married? I have Saturn. I'm very private with my personal life. So, and I also saw that you asked the question of, am I single? No, I'm in a relationship, very happily in a relationship. And he's the best. Literally, he's the best. I couldn't have manifested a major blessing in my life other than him. He's fantastic. Tess Reinhardt says, are you referencing Russia? I actually mentioned Russia. So we'll definitely see that. Look, Kayla's in the chat. We're deviating. All right, guys, I want to invite you for 5. Oh, Miss Sam Law says, tell us how to manifest. I will. Oh, Little Gypsy's here. Yeah, these are people who, right. Danny says, asking too much. Exactly. You guys know I'm private. And Iron Rose Beam says, please respect her. She is a prophetess. And a high priestess of that, so I don't. Alex P says, how did you manifest your partner? Okay, this is what I'll say. Because I will do a video on this. I will. So basically, how do I want to say this? I always get shy when I tell it. Hey, Liz. Liz is in the chat. What's up, girl? Good to see you. I hope you're doing well. Basically, how I manifested all of my partnerships, but this one particularly, the relationships up until this point, I knew that I had, from my own experiences, I knew that there were going to be a little bit of blockages and challenges to me ultimately getting the grand finale of what it is that I wanted. So I spent a lot of time with myself and also with the divine in quiet time, asking myself and asking the divine to show me specifically what it is that I wanted as far as traits and what was my next obstacle that I needed to live and learn through. So before my partner now, I would manifest lessons, like certain lessons, but also experiences. So how I would do that was I would write down on petition paper the date, the time, and exactly what it is that I wanted. I would use something very similar to a candle. This is the Higher Wisdom candle. It just doesn't have a label on it. And I don't know if you guys can see this, but I have some herbs here. I don't know if you guys can see that, but I've got a special blend of herbs. And I just pretty much sprinkle them on the candle. That's a lot, but I sprinkle them on the candle and I fix the candle specifically for my intentions. After I write my petition, I put the candle on top of my petition, put it on my altar, burn it for about 7 days, and I allow things to manifest. This relationship in particular I'm very protective of all of my relationships, but this one is everything, and he's phenomenal, and I'm very private, and so is he. And in this part, when I was in New Orleans, there's a point to all of this. So, Nia says, burn it all day and night. Yes and no. It depends. Some things were dramatic and needed to be burnt all the time. And because of the severity of the situation, for example, let's say it was like something that I was not desperate about, but like something that I was like fucked up over. Let's say like with my feelings, like this outside of relationships. Let's say if I needed healing or if I needed support, then I would stay by the candle and it would burn all the time. But for relationship things or things that are not desperate, I would like lick my fingers and put the candle flame out. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. Yeah, classic Bronx hippie says, don't speak, sis. That part right there. I don't want to share more about my relationship because people do not, even people who think that they like me, or think that they want the best for me. The truth is that not everybody's energy is coming from a positive place. So, but I will say that if you have done the work already, then something that you can do and something that I'm okay with sharing because I think that this could help you if you haven't, is to get to a point in a space in your life where you trust the divine to give you not only what you think you want, but to surrender it enough to ask spirit and the divine to give you what it exactly is that you need. And I will say that. So go through, if I was going to help you guys to manifest a relationship, or manifest anything in your life, but specifically relationships, make sure that you are focusing on the parts of you that need healing first. So that when you get to what you actually want, need, deserve, or let's say if you want, whatever the ultimate goal is for you, that you are whole and healed and ready and capable of a relationship like that. And then even when you're in that relationship, you should still be working magic around yourself for your own healing and for communication, whatever whatever it is that you need, that when you get to that relationship, whatever that relationship is, that you don't just stop working your magic or stop talking to the divine. Mystic Traveler says Jess's matte candles are amazing. They really are. They really are. Everything that I have in my life has come through my magic, and through talking to the divine and writing the petition and working with. I'm big on fire and I'm big on earth. So you will always see me working with, well, all of the elements, but you'll always see me working with candles, and you'll always see me writing the petitions, and you'll always see me with a Sharpie pen. The fine print, I always talk about the Sharpie pen. That's my drug, my drug of choice when I'm working my magic. This candle too, I do want to say that the higher wisdom candle is also excellent to give you the clarity, to know exactly what it is that, something very similar to what spirit sees for you. It will give you the vision to be able to see that. And this powder, I'm actually going to be putting it in the shop later on this afternoon. I've been working with it, but it's a actual special blend. It's very as simple as it is. Well, but there's 3 ingredients in this. You can't tell. For the most part, you can't tell, but as simple as it is, it's very, very, very powerful. And I've been working with this. So this powder is going to go up. Pretty much you just kind of sprinkle that in your candle. Yeah. Knick-Knack Craddox 555 Craddox says higher wisdom. That's my go-to next. Yeah, it's so good. So good. So, okay. Leah says, hold on, let me answer this question. Leah Love says, so for example, I have intimacy issues, suggest manning a partner to help heal that. Exactly. So let's say you have, for Leah's, to talk about Leah's thing, right? Or her question. Let's say you've had partners in the past that have good communication, or you guys have a lot of fun together, meaning like you have similar things that it is that you can do to have fun. But in order for you to have the bigger picture of the ultimate goal of the partner who has everything, you don't want to exclusively show up in that relationship all the time, kind of completely not damaged, but with a lot of work and baggage, because that's going to then pour into that person, and that's going to be a part of the legacy that you write, with that person, which I personally don't want to do that. I don't want to like have all of my lessons with one person. Right. So then you can let's say Leah's saying that she has issues with intimacy. You can then write a petition and say to the universe, at this time during the Scorpio full moon, which it's not a Scorpio full moon, but I think that would be an amazing moon to work with for intimacy issues. You can then set intention for deeper, like your ability to relax and to be open to connecting intimately in a deep way, emotionally, physical, whatever, with this person. And that whatever this person is, that they just bring out your ability to connect with pleasure, and that they are the chemistry and the bond that it is that you guys have when you're together helps you to find comfort and intimacy, and also that they may actually help navigate you through exploring your own intimacy and pleasure. Oh, also forgive me, because when I hear the word intimacy, that's the first thing that came to my mind. is that's just where my mind went. But for you, it could be emotional intimacy. I'm thinking about I thought about sexual intimacy. So then when that person manifests, which should only take about 2 to 3 days for that to happen, because it's not the weight of this grand thing that you ultimately want. It's not the whole rib, like it's not this whole big meat, like plate of meat. I don't know if that's the right way to say it. It's just an appetizer. So you're not afraid of this whole meal. And can I finish this whole meal? And am I ready for this whole meal? And Thanksgiving, like, is it going to be? It's just an appetizer. It's a small thing. So it comes in and it manifests, and you just get so accustomed to all these things so that when you actually are trying to manifest the great finale or this whatever, this ultimate dream thing, that you're not, the parts of you that want it so bad are not also pushing it away, because you've already experienced it and there's nothing within you that is energetically blocking you from receiving it because you healed all of that. And this could be a relationship, but it can also be money. A lot of people have issues with money. I personally, I don't know why. I don't know how I was able to do this, but as a child, I was born, I always thought that like money was gonna, I was taught to like buy things on sale, and I don't know why, but I have not a sense of entitlement, but I feel I have this belief that in like nice things and quality things. I don't know if it's like my Virgo um, placements, but I value quality things, and I value us like, where money goes, and then also investing. So manifesting money and opportunities or high profile clientele has never been an issue for me because I've always energetically been open to it. I haven't created a blockage. Only when I was overwhelmed by things did I start pulling away, and I'm just like, I needed a break, and I kind of calmed things down as far as how I was manifesting. So after that, you really have to let it go. So all right, guys, I have to roll, but thank you so much for hanging out with me. Winter Lover says, how do you use oils and herbs with a candle safely? I really don't want to start a huge fire. I'll say this, I've been working with oils and candles and herbs forever. I am very, very clumsy, and I haven't set my house on fire yet. As I look back at my candle back there. The Black Beauty says, can you manifest weight loss? Absolutely. Actually, during retrogrades is an amazing time because it's pulling that energy away from you. When Jupiter enters into the sign of Aries, which is next December 20th, you can talk about with the universe manifesting not only weight loss, but like a good active plan, like physical plan to help you have fun while you're working out. So for those of you guys that want daily tarot or readings, for me, I have a new offering on my website, a new service, or offerings I like to call it. It's called BehatiLife Notes, and basically I shuffle and pull every single day, damn near. Sometimes just not on Sunday, for that small group, and they are available on Instagram, but they're also available on my website at BehatiLife.com. All of the past readings that I've done are up, so you can go back and track what was going on in your life at that time. Thank you guys so much for joining me on Instagram. I'll talk to you guys later. Okay, bye. I love you. Yeah, you guys can go ahead and check that out there on BehatiLife.com. I'm going to go have some more tea and pack up some of these powders because I'm just literally chilling today. I've been chill all afternoon. I've just been vibing. So thank you guys so much for hanging out with me tonight, and I will see you guys next week for sure. I'm pretty sure, right? Yeah, we have time before Christmas. And I'll leave the links for the chat, Behati Love Notes in this description. And I think that's it. That's all I can remember. Oh, and the powder will be up later if you guys want to check that out. You can sprinkle it on any candle. Oh, Shalonda says that she burns her petition paper. I do that too sometimes, depending, but sometimes I also hold on to it. But also, a lot of the petitions that I hold on to, when I find them later, I end up reading them and then burning them. But I always get it 100%. Everything that I ask for and manifest, from like the smallest detail, from like what they're interested in to their eye color to the type of dog that we're going to have together, like all of those things, it's always manifested within a week, and they always come running after me. All right, guys, I'll talk to you later. If you need me or any of my magic, you can find it at BehatiLife.com. I'll talk to you later. Bye.